It made acquiring what I wanted a lot easier. She never replied. In terms of divorces, all you have to do is search for 1304 to find all of the unfaithful husbands. And I had 3 of them since I got into the majority of the men phones. The sisters all had a habit of undressing on their way to the bedroom. They only cheated once, but one of the mechanics was male. 304 words spread among women about his large tool, and he sought to use it frequently. The mechanic forced 8 men to divorce their wives. The mechanic enjoys texting disparaging comments about husbands to their wives. The wives never disagreed. He had to relocate in order to find work and avoid being beaten up on the street. Megan, aside from her uncle and aunt, usually dated single ladies. Therefore, she did not directly cause any divorces. Ashley screwed a lot of guys while I was doing my hobby. Most of the guys, I had no idea who they were. So, after subtracting Sarah's overlap, Ashley caused 10 divorces and 0 reconciliations among the males I knew. There were no reconciliations since the women had lost all respect for their husbands if they went so low as to screw Ashley. Mother-in-law did a couple boys, but eliminating Sarah's overlaps. The mother-in-law only triggered 1 divorce. I am aware of her sisters-in-law. Sarah's videos resulted in 13 divorces and 2 reconciliations owing to her adultery. These only covered direct divorces. When some of the guys confessed, they implicated other women who ended up divorcing. The wounded women approached the other cheating wives. I believe there were 4 or 5 subsequent divorces. There were at least a dozen arrests for attacks. Fortunately, no one I know died as a result of not being kind. I believe people should enjoy the consequences of their conduct, and the mechanic did end up with a permanently ruined tool. Thanks to Megan and Laura, I learned they ruptured some major blood arteries while on duty. Ouch. The mechanic's nickname is now Lefty, since his meat is permanently bent in the middle and points 90 degrees left. Megan claimed that Lefty had said something rude about one of Laura's daughters when he was with Laura. Bad action. Lefty attempted to press charges, but having your tool broken while within someone is difficult to define as assault. Megan stated that the female detective couldn't stop chuckling, and the male detective was astounded. Megan explained how Laura shattered his tool without using her hands. I couldn't get a clear picture of how she did it. I believe my brain was preventing my tiny head from ever hearing about such a dreadful event. As for Lefty's ex-wife, I invited her to a coffee shop to apologize for her taking the blame in my sister's divorces. She said, "Breaking my mother-in-law's nose was the highlight of the year," she quipped. "See if you can make her unhappy enough to slap me again." I need more therapy. I inquired if she was dating. After eyeing me up and down, she said maybe. I told her I was spoken for, but my next-door neighbor had recently divorced. She waved me off as if I were the only one. Lefty's ex is a statuesque 5'10" blonde with an athletic build, a skinnier version of Laura. I stated he discovered his wife was unfaithful and they divorced amicably. She sat calmly as I explained that he and his ex-wife discovered they were both sterile but wanted to have children. And because you have 2 babies waiting for a father, she smiled slightly. I stated that he owns his own home outright, pays no alimony, and earns over 6 figures. By this point, she was smiling broadly. He lives next door to me and has not been on a single date since the divorce. Finding out his wife was cheating was a crushing blow to his ego. Did I mention he's 6'2"? I used to play rugby for fun. She leaned forward swiftly and whacked me on the leg. Hard. She looked around and tried to mumble quietly. "Those 2 women behind you don't wear rings?" "Yes." I want a date with him, speaking back to her for no apparent reason. "Come by my house on Saturday. I've already invited him over for barbecue. Bring both children. They can swim in my pool and wear a high-cut one-piece. He prefers women with long, athletic legs." After that, I swear she dashed to her car so she could get home and start preparing for Saturday, which was 3 days away. After Saturday's lunchtime celebration, Lefty's ex-wife and children spent the night at his home. They never departed. They asked us to their wedding 6 months later. Olivia looked adorable in a bridesmaid gown at 7 months pregnant. As for me, the business is going quite well. Before she retired, Olivia brought in 3 whale clients, ensuring our company's viability. I promptly married Olivia. I had to continue getting her pregnant. I can't help it. She is constantly gleaming. She is currently carrying our 4th. We're both attempting to make up for missed time. We moved close to my parents to our own beachfront home, which is warm 300 days a year. A terrible winter day is one with temperatures as low as 45 degrees. We live in a modest house, which is okay because we spend the most of our time outside on the spacious back deck. We have 3 large dogs who sleep with the children every night. I taught them to bark and growl whenever I show them a picture of my ex-wife, just in case she comes sniffing around for money. Unfortunately, one of the vets in town has an assistant who looks very much like my ex-wife. She has to hide until my dogs leave the building. They had cornered her in the front foyer the first time we went there before we married. I showed Olivia all of my small hobbies. She realized it was a warning, but she smiled and told me she didn't need to worry. The best dancer I've ever known. I know you've already figured it out. My ex-wife's uncle was the sole person named on the trust. As the sole executor, I was permitted to close the trust. I wanted my money back to begin my new life. I hope you enjoy that story. Here is another one. She'd been like that the entire time I knew her. It was nearly 10 years since 11th grade for some inexplicable reason which only God knows. My wife, Tammy, and Jennifer became closest friends despite the fact that Jennifer was a slut. I've never slept with her. Not that I didn't want to. The girl was wonderful. Seriously, she was wonderful. But right before I turned 16, my father sat me down next to her and talked about life. It's about life, not birds and bees. Regarding the good, bad, and ugly, and I listened because I believed my father knew what he was talking about. During this chat, I discovered that Daddy and Mommy married because they had to. My mother got my father pregnant, and when their families found out, they compelled my parents to marry. And you are aware that I have never berated your mother in your presence. But first, you need to understand what I'm saying. I need to do it now. Your mom was a whore. That's exactly why I was with her. I was a horny guy, and your mother was an easy target. I knew she was a slut, but I didn't mind because I was having sex when most men my age weren't. I wasn't thinking about having a steady partner, let alone getting married. I was solely thinking of ladies. Surprisingly, your mother stopped sleeping with other men when she started sleeping with me. So around 4 months after we started having pleasure, she told me she was pregnant. And I knew you were mine. I dropped out of college and her father enrolled me in Kelsey's Tool and Die program. I suppose I was a little naive. I assumed that once you married, your mom would become a housewife and mother. That is exactly what happened for a few years. But there's a phrase about whores today, whore forever. And that saying was true when it came to your mother. It was 3 years after we got married and I was working my shift. I was machining a billet on the lathe when it broke and a splinter struck my hand. They transported me to the hospital where they removed the splinter and sewed up my arm before sending me home. I walked into the house and discovered your mother in bed with one of my so-called pals. He sprang out of bed, grabbed his pants, and leaped through the bedroom window. There was a great deal of crying and begging. She went out with your Aunt Ruth and a couple of pals, and they drank a lot. I let her convince me that he took advantage of her while she was inebriated. We made up. But 6 months later, I caught her again. There was the same begging and pleading as before, but this time I kicked her out of the house. Then both families turned on me, so I gave up and took her back. A year later, I caught her again and continued to throw her out. Both families began pressuring me to take her back. That time, I summoned the fortitude to tell them that she would not be returning to my life, and if they didn't stop talking, she would be out of my life. 3 months later, she left town with a man she met at a bar. Thanks for making it this far. Now, please take a moment to share your thoughts on what we have presented. Your opinion is important to us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. You can pause the video for 5 seconds to give your feedback. A year later, I divorced her because she left me. A few years later, I learned that she died of AIDS somewhere in Nevada. I always told you she died from cancer because I didn't believe you should know the truth about your mother while you were so little. I mean, you've reached a stage in your life where your hormones are out of control. Learn from your father. If a girl is too easy to obtain, you should avoid her. If a girl is too easy to obtain, get as far away from here as possible. Let some poor schmuck wreck his life for her. I listened to what my father said and took it seriously. I ignored part of it, and I did fall in love with a girl who was easy, but I always wore a rubber band to keep from becoming sick and not becoming a father. That's exactly what I did until Fred Ingram had to marry Barb Beeler as part of the rubber band tour. After that, the easy girl became a taboo for me, and that's why I never had a hot Jennifer. Why are we having this conversation? To set the scene, Jennifer was seated on the couch in my living room. Tammy had spent the night at her ailing mother's house and would not return home until Saturday morning when her father returned from his business trip. Tammy left, and Jennifer sat on my couch attempting to seduce me. Why would I think this? Let us call it an educated guess. An assumption based on the fact that she was sitting across from me on the couch wearing a mini skirt, 10-inch heels, a low-cut top, and no bra with her legs spread wide. And don't forget that Jennifer was a whore as she babbled something meaningless. I mentally traveled back in time. Jennifer had tried sleeping with me several times. We dated once or twice, and if it had happened before Fred rather than after, she would have succeeded. However, this occurred after Fred and I had backed away from her. Jennifer went back east to college while I stayed at home and went to state. My sophomore year, I met Tammy, and by the end of my freshman year, we were engaged and about to marry. Jennifer had a family member die, so she had to transfer to State University to continue college. The state required you to work a minimum of 30 credit hours at the institution to earn your degree, but Jennifer came from a wealthy family with good lawyers. They were successful in reducing the number to 20. Jennifer was determined to graduate on time. So during summer school before her senior year, and throughout her senior year, she worked a 24-hour shift. I called her a slut. I never called her stupid. Tammy, my fiancée, was a party animal her freshman year and missed a few classes, anxious to graduate with me. She also took coursework before our senior year. I spent the summer working as an intern at an engineering firm in Dallas. And when I returned home just before the start of my senior year, I learned that Tammy and Jennifer had connected and become great friends while I was gone. I'd be lying to say it didn't disturb me. I spent several hours wondering if Tammy saw Jennifer in the evenings. It had been a few years since I had last seen Jennifer, and she could have changed, but I recalled her as a prostitute and remembered my father's words. Once a slut, always a slut. I figured she was still one. The question was, did she do it while Tammy was with her? Yes, I was worried. I kept sniffing around, but I never found anything that gave me a hint. Tammy and I married after we graduated senior year. A year later, Jennifer met Dennis Fraser. They married, and Jennifer appeared to have transformed. Jennifer and Tammy maintained their connection, and we would have Jennifer and Dennis over for barbecues and attend their pool parties about a year after Jennifer and Dennis got married. She returned to her promiscuous ways. I'm not sure if Dennis knew, but I doubted it. Even if he did, Tammy kept it from me. I only knew because I saw Jennifer and Christopher Mosser making love in the back seat of Christopher's Impala in the bar's parking lot the night of Jean Greenwich's birthday celebration. When I later approached Christopher about it, he said he had seen her have Phil Reed at Mike Madsen's party and figured he'd try it himself. Christopher suggested that I give it a shot if the opportunity arose. This is a first-class girl. I've never tried anything better, and I doubt I ever will. Following that, I paid close attention to Tammy's actions when she was adjacent to Jennifer. I ended my thoughts as Jennifer added, "We've known each other a long time. Frank and I have a problem, and I need your aid. I'll help if I can." Jennifer, what is the problem? It is quite personal, but you have known me for a long time. And do you remember what I was like in high school? If I was still like that, I'd do what I did then, sleep with a guy. I can't do it now that I am married. What do you need, Jennifer? This is exactly what I need for my mental health, Frank. I've come to you because I trust you. I understand what happens here, stays here. Jennifer, stop avoiding the truth. What do you want? I want you to make love to me. Are you crazy? Dear God, Jennifer, Tammy is going to murder me. Dennis will probably try to complete it before Tammy. Tammy will never find out, and Dennis refuses to do anything even if he did. He'll be too busy hiding. He's hiding. That's what this is about. I want to get even with Dennis. Dennis engaged in an affair with one of the girls he works with. Now it's finished, and he has no idea that I know. I'm upset with him right now, but I still adore the jerk and see no need to end my marriage over it. The trouble is that I am adamant that I will not allow him get away with it without doing something to level the score, even if he never discovers it. I have to get even. But I need to be with someone I know will remain quiet about it. How about this, Frank? I know you wanted me in high school, and I know you were considering a relationship with me. We went to the club with Tammy and Dennis, and you danced with me. I could feel the curiosity in my foot. It's a secret, Frank. It's just the two of us. Something wasn't right here. Jennifer and Tammy were as close as sisters, and they would never betray each other. Suddenly, I realized Jennifer was trying to set me up. She wanted me to screw her up so Tammy could use an axe on me. That indicated Tammy had either done or was about to do something for which she might require a get-out-of-jail card if I discovered it. And the only thing that sprang to me was that she could need it for cheating. That is exactly what Jennifer stated she wanted for Dennis. You did it so I could do the same in my situation. It would be what? You can sleep with Jennifer, but I cannot sleep with anyone. Oh no. Frank, there is no double standard in this household. Jennifer obviously didn't know that. I knew she was acting like a slut again. If Dennis was sleeping with a lady at work, it was most likely because he was trying to get back at Jennifer. Tammy was either cheating on me and wanted insurance in case I found out, or she intended to cheat and wanted insurance. I had no idea which it was, but I was determined to find out. The only way to do it was to play along. It's a really tempting offer, Jennifer, but I can't accept it. At least, not today. My cousin Lou is on his way down here to assist me with the brakes on my truck. He should be here any minute. Of course, Tammy will be there. I have no idea when she will come returning. I won't be able to assist you tomorrow, since I'll be helping my father fix the roof on his barn. Call me sometime Monday afternoon at work, and we'll see if we can work anything out. However, you must ensure that Tammy is unaware of this. Do not worry about it, Frank. She will never find out. I accompanied her to the door, and as I stared after her, I couldn't decide what irritated me more, that my wife expected me to sleep with her, or that Jennifer believed I was as much of a cheater as she was when she left. I went for the garage. Lou felt his wife was cheating on him 2 years ago and sought my assistance in determining the truth. Lou wasn't very skilled with instruments. Give him one, and he will find a way to harm himself. I connected to the internet and learned how to tap a phone line before tapping his home phone. It turns out Martha was not cheating on him, and when the dust had settled, I removed the wire tap, but I still had my recorder. I took the essential items from the toolbox and was able to connect the house phone within 20 minutes. I doubted Jennifer would call Tammy at her mother's place for fear of my mother-in-law hearing something. Tammy didn't have a cell phone at the time. She dropped hers in the toilet. Do not ask. We really appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support is a great inspiration and encouragement for us. Thank you so much. And we had ordered a replacement, but it had not yet come. So Jennifer and Tammy's talks had to take place in person or over the phone. Once I had the phone in place, I grabbed a beer and walked outside to sit on the terrace. I was thinking about what I would do if my loving wife lost her way or was going to. Tammy was not home. When I went to the golf course, I had a date with my cousin Lou and 2 friends. We had a game scheduled for 10 o'clock, and I assumed Tammy would be home around 11 a.m., while I would not get home until 4 p.m. on a normal day. Tammy and Jennifer had plenty of time to talk on the phone, and if they didn't talk today, they could talk the next day because I wasn't lying. I told Jennifer I was going to help my father on the roof of his barn. By the time I leave the house for work on Monday, I should have a better notion of what is going on. I had a wonderful day on the course and was almost tied for the first time in my life, but the 9th ball landed in a sand trap on the 18th hole, ruining everything. It took me 2 shots to get out, and I was so frustrated with myself that I took 3 shots and finished 3 over par at 75 points. It's still not a horrible day for a weekend duffer. Tammy was home when I arrived, and I was not shocked when she took me into the bedroom. We were accustomed to having privacy, and she had been gone for 3 days. We had a long fumbling, and then I took her out to supper. When we arrived home, she wanted to play some more, so I consented. When she fell asleep, I got out of bed and went downstairs to check the telephone recorder. Hello? It's me. I just arrived home. Frank departed to play golf, so I'm at home alone. How did things go in there? He was interested, but he wouldn't do it because his cousin was visiting and he didn't know when you could return home. He asked that I call him at work on Monday afternoon based on the way he looked at my boobs. I am pretty confident I will get it. Do you really want to do this? I am sure I've never had it before and I'd like to try it just once. There is no guarantee that even if I fuck Frank, he will go along with it. You did it so I could create a situation. He would. He loves me, and he is aware of my feelings for him. Things may not run smoothly for a while, but we'll be all right. He's your husband, so I believe you know him better than I do. But to be honest, I knew before he married that you would not agree to what you wanted. Tammy, I am not trying to persuade you out of it, but you have one hell of a guy. Are you certain you want to take this risk? It's going to be fine, Jennifer. He will not find out. I just need insurance in case he finds out through a rare accident. Okay, sweetheart, but it's up to you. I tried to warn you. Hey girl, this was your fault from the beginning. It is my fault. How do you calculate that? If you'd introduced me to a couple of lads before I married Frank, I wouldn't be as inquisitive about what another man is like. That is not fair, Tammy. I didn't know Dennis back then, until I met him. You had different boys than I did. Still, it is your fault. You should not have informed me how huge Dennis was. It is Dennis's fault, not mine. He liked you from the moment he met you. He kept pressing me to find a method to bring you two together. Ask Frank to do something. Dennis will receive his wish, and so will you. Call and let me know how Monday goes. Are you certain you want to wait? Frank indicated he would be gone all day Sunday to assist his father. You'll have the entire day to satiate your curiosity while Frank is away. No, I prefer to wait until next week. Frank mentioned the other day that he may need to fly to San Diego for a training lecture next week. If he leaves, he will be gone for a few days, and that is when I intend to do it. Okay, I'll call you after I speak with Frank. I went back to bed anxious. If Tammy follows through on her plan, we're screwed. I would not live with an unfaithful wife. I grew up without a mother due to adultery, which I couldn't deal with. I spent a long time thinking about what I should do in this case. It's astonishing that I didn't fall off the barn roof because my mind was elsewhere and not focused on what I was doing. As I went home from my father's, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to take it on from the beginning. Tammy wanted to hook up before supper, so we did, and then while she was preparing dinner, I walked down to the basement to check the recorder. Tammy did not chat to Jennifer, but she did speak with Dennis. Cell phone rings. Hello? Hello, sexy? You should not have phoned here, Dennis. What if Frank had responded? Jennifer informed me that he would be gone all day. What if the plans changed? What if he's still here? He is not. Annette. So it's not a huge issue. I know he left because I parked at the end of the block and witnessed him go. I can get through your door in less than a minute. Dennis, no, that won't happen until next week. Come on, gorgeous lady. You know you want to feel my pulse 30 centimeters inside you. We can complete it tonight and next week. I told you no, Dennis. Yes, I want to feel it, but not until I've got everything correct. Oh, come on. I said no, and that meant no. Damn it, she hung up. Tammy wanted to have some more fun after dinner, and I felt I'd better take advantage of it because our house is going to be a little chilly after Monday. Monday was a hectic day at work, and I spent most of it on the road until lunchtime. Work is only a 10-minute walk away, so I took a brief lunchtime trip home. Mail is typically delivered between 9 and 10, and UPS and FedEx regularly deliver to our area in the morning. I was unfortunate since I had shipped Tammy a new phone and the package was waiting on the porch. I grabbed it and went back to work. Tammy was not permitted to take personal calls at work, and without a cell phone, she could only interact with Jennifer or via her home phone. I suppose Tammy might have stopped and used a payphone, but I couldn't see her discussing personal matters in a phone booth. Jennifer contacted me at 2 o'clock, and after we exchanged greetings, I went right to the point. We are not going out, Jennifer. I know your narrative about wanting to get even with Dennis is ridiculous, because I know you slept with Phil Reed during Madsen's birthday party, and I witnessed you sleeping with Christopher Mosser in the back seat of his Impala. I know you've done a couple other things. I am not sure what game you are playing, but I will not be one of the players, so thank you for your offer. No, I guess she didn't take the rejection well, because she hung up without saying anything else. I arrived home 10 minutes before Tammy, opened a bottle of Merlot, and was seated at the kitchen table with 2 glasses when she strolled in. She stepped in, noticed the atmosphere, and inquired, "What is the occasion? I just need to clear something up. Sit down and have a sip while I give you the story." She sat down and I explained that I had misled you. To be honest with you, I lied. I told you that my mother died of cancer when I was a child, but it was a lie. I said that because I felt ashamed of the reality. My mother did not die from cancer. She died from AIDS. I told Tammy what my father had told me and added, I can't stand cheaters. Tammy, my mother cheated on my father, therefore I grew up without a mother. He forgiven her twice, but after the third time, he kicked her out. My heart has no room for cheating. Why am I bringing it up now? Because I need to correct the record, so to speak. Jennifer paid me a visit on Friday night, and I went on to detail what we discussed. It was all BS. Tammy, I am not sure if Dennis is cheating on her, but if he is, it is only to get even with her. I told Tammy what I knew about Jennifer, Christopher, Jennifer, and Phil Reed, and then I revealed that Jennifer was a slut in high school and still is. And that's when I understood the story she gave me was complete nonsense. It begs the question of why she would come here and say all that stuff to me. Tammy, I'm not foolish. I might not be the sharpest knife in the world, but I am not stupid. You and Jennifer are as tight as thieves, and I don't think either of you would betray each other. From this, I can only conclude that you were aware of her visit. I wonder why you two would do such a thing, and I came to another unavoidable conclusion. You were setting me up. You wanted me to screw Jennifer so you could blackmail me later. And the only reason I could see you wanting to do that was because you had done or were preparing to do something that you felt you would need to get out of jail free card for. This notion prompted me to consider what it could have been, which led to my third and last unavoidable conclusion. You have already cheated on me or plan to. Please comment number 1 so that I can know that you like the video, and subscribe to our channel. Your support is a great inspiration and encouragement for us. Thank you very much. If I accepted Jennifer's proposal and you cheated on me and I found out, you'd say something like, you did it, so don't blame me for doing the same. That is not going to happen, Tammy. I am not living with a cheater. You're an adult woman and I can't tell you what you can or cannot do, but I can tell you what I will do if I discover you cheated on me. I'll dump you in the trash so quickly that your shadow will take a week to catch up. Tammy's face became increasingly red as I said. She was enraged and couldn't disguise it. How dare you speak to me like that? May I, Tammy? I asked to interrupt her. I have already told you that I am not foolish. No amount of bluster and fury will change anything. I have communicated my position to you. What you do with that knowledge is entirely up to you. I'm heading to Bud's for a burger and a beer. You'll have some time alone to process what I've said and determine whether or not you want to live with me. I got out of the home and went to the pub. Damn, you guys didn't get it. Dennis was the first person I saw when I came inside Bud's. My instinct was to walk up to him and hit him in the face, but of course I couldn't do it. I couldn't ignore him because we were meant to be friends. I couldn't tell him I was following him since it would reveal that I had a method of gathering information as well as the phone tapping. I gulped it and moved over to sit on the bar stool next to him. We chatted for a while, hanging over the bar watching the AVs versus Red Wings game on television. After a while, he paid for his drink and stood up to leave, claiming he needed to get home before Jennifer became upset with him. He departed and I wondered if Jennifer would be upset with him because he couldn't help her if he wound up screwing Tammy. I would do everything in my power to completely screw him and his balls. Around 10 o'clock, I felt that was enough for the day and returned home. When I arrived, Tammy had already gone to bed, so I walked down to the basement and checked the tapped phone. Cell phone rings. Hello? Hello, girlfriend, this is bad news. When I called him, he ignored me. He understood my story was a lie because he knew I was sleeping with other men. It's far worse than that. He grasped why and warned me that if he discovered I was cheating, he would kick me out. So what are you planning to do? Do not get caught. Are you certain that's wise? If he suspects anything, he'll be monitoring you closely from now on. How will he know? I'm always at your house regardless. The only people who will know are you, Dennis, and I, and we're not going to tell anyone about it. He'll keep a watch on me in the evenings while I'm out and check in on me when I'm not at home. But he won't suspect anything when I visit your residence. Perhaps if I were with you, but not when I'm in your house. He would know I would not do anything. If Dennis was present, maybe. I understand he did not expect you to do anything while you were here. He doesn't realize the fox is defending the henhouse. Are you certain you want to take this risk? You have an excellent marriage, and I know you adore this guy, and I have no doubt that he loves you. Are you certain you are willing to risk everything just wondering about what a large boyfriend looks like? I wouldn't do it in any other situation, but there is no risk here. It is completely risk-free to do it at home. Frank will be aware that I am in your home, but he will not think of Dennis when Dennis is doing me. Frank will be seated and watching television, if he will think about me at all. It will just be you and me sitting at your kitchen table, trading recipes or discussing other womanly topics. When you arrive home and he wants to make love to you, how are you going to explain your crappiness? That is precisely why I don't want to do it till next week. Frank will be in San Diego for 3 days, attending a lecture. He is departing Wednesday morning and will not return until late Friday or early Saturday, and my period should begin around Friday. This will give me plenty of time to get back to normal. I hate to keep bringing it up, but are you certain you want to risk your marriage simply to see what another man is like? If you're so concerned about my marriage, why did you tell me how huge Dennis was? You know how slutty I was before I married Frank, and you should have predicted how I would respond when I saw that massive piece of meat. This is entirely your fault, girl. You set it off by telling Dennis to fetch it and show it to me. I'm just surprised I didn't do it immediately. All fine, girlfriend. We'll do it next Wednesday. There was more, but I got the gist of it, and what I did pretty nearly destroyed my marriage. I removed the recorder from the phone line before going upstairs to the bedroom and turning on the light. Tammy was sleeping, but she awoke when I began opening and closing drawers, bringing out her belongings, and transferring them across the hall to the guest bedroom. She sat up and asked, "Frank, what are you doing? What are you doing with my clothing?" "Tammy, I'm evicting you." "Are they evicting me? I am not going anywhere." "Oh, certainly, Tammy. You are relocating into a spare bedroom until you locate another place to reside. Maybe Jennifer will let you move in with her and Dennis. Would you like that? Being able to be around him and such?" "Frank, are you out of your mind?" "No, I just found out that my wife is a whore. How dare you speak to me like that?" "Tammy, take it easy. All I had to do was listen as you made preparations to cheat on me." "Are you out of your mind?" "No, but you must have been insane if you believed you could get away with anything you were planned." I took the recorder out of my pocket and set it on the dresser. Pressing the play button caused her eyes to widen and the paint to peel away from her face as she listened to herself lay out her plan to cheat on me. I grabbed her arm, yanked her off the bed, grabbed the recorder, and led her to the guest bedroom. I pulled her onto the bed, placed the recorder on the bedside table, and stated, "This was recorded after I told you I had zero tolerance for cheating. You either didn't believe me or did not care. Either way, you're out of here. I'm giving you a week to locate somewhere to sleep, and if you aren't out by then, I'll take you outside and place you on the curb." A week from today is also garbage pickup day. And how appropriate is this? You can take the remainder of your belongings out of the bedroom while I'm at work. I left the bedroom and went downstairs to the kitchen. I got a beer from the fridge and headed outside to the terrace. I sat down and drank the beer until I was relaxed. Tammy stepped out and requested in a shaky voice, "Can we talk frankly?" I had almost finished my beer. I stood up and stated, "No, we cannot." And I got up and went to my bedroom. Tammy was already in the kitchen when I got up in the morning. It didn't appear like she had gone to bed, or if she had, she wasn't sleeping well. When I entered the room, she looked up at me and said, "The coffee is ready." I took the cup, added creamer, and went out onto the balcony to sip it while watching the sunrise. Tammy walked out and sat next to me. She was silent, and I didn't pay attention to her. After about a minute, she asked, "Are you really going to throw me out without speaking to me? What is there to talk about?" Last night, before going to the bar, I stated my viewpoint clearly. You knew exactly where I stood on the issue of cheating. You were ready to phone Jennifer and set up a time to cheat on me less than 30 minutes after I left the house. All I'm doing is dumping you before you get an opportunity to do so. That is what we need to talk about. I was not going to do that. As I hung up the phone, I considered what Jennifer had said. She was correct. I have a very good marriage and I have an excellent husband. Frank, I thought about it for a long time and decided I was doing too well to lose it. It was too late to call Jennifer back, but I planned to contact her as soon as you left for work and cancel. Frankly, I wasn't going to follow through on that. That's what you're saying now that I understand you. But sadly for you, I no longer trust you. For all I know, you're lying about altering your mind. In my perspective, you are attempting to avoid potential consequences, and everything you say serves solely your interests. I don't trust you anymore, and I'm not going to waste the time and effort it would take to ensure you don't carry out your intentions. I'm on too many business travels, and I don't want to spend my time away from home wondering if you're cheating on me, and you spend too much time on Jennifer's time. You may be used to sleeping with Dennis. No, Tammy, you made a mistake by planning to cheat after I warned you. I don't trust you, and I'm not going to spend my life wondering where you are and what you're doing while I'm not there. And they aren't just business travels. When I come to help my father, I normally leave for 10 or 12 hours. When I play golf, I am gone for 5 to 6 hours. Jennifer and Dennis are about 5 minutes away. So while I'm gone, I'll worry about what you may be doing, and I will not live like that. I am going to end my connection with Jennifer. You say you will do that, but if I'm not here, how will I know you aren't coming? You understand what I am saying, Tammy? I simply don't trust you anymore. I've been sitting here listening to you discuss your plans to sleep with Dennis while I'm gone. I have listened to your plans for everything. You chose the date such that my travel and period would provide you with all of the coverage you require. It was a complex scheme to give me the horns. It didn't matter that you were a married woman who had made a pledge of fidelity. You cannot do this to me, Frank. You know I adore you. Do you? Thank you for the phone tap. I know you adore me so much that you were a whore like Jennifer here while I was in Dallas and remain loyal to you. Based on everything I've heard, it's a marvel you didn't invite me home from Texas with an STD. Consider what I heard on the tapes. I wonder whether you cheated on me throughout our marriage. I remember all those evenings you spent at bachelorette parties with Jennifer and the other females. And I'm wondering whether you cheated on me. Then you can claim you never did. But why should I believe you? You say you're ending your relationship with Jennifer. But why should I believe you? You say you've changed your mind about sleeping with Dennis. But why should I believe you? You could vow on a stack of Bibles that you would never cheat on me. But why should I believe you after hearing how methodically you want to create a cuckold out of me? Why should I believe what you say? Damn it, Frank, you have to give me a chance. You need to give us a chance. Tammy, how can I do that? I do not trust you. How can we stay together if I don't trust you? When I don't believe what you say, tell me. Tammy, how can I give you a chance in such circumstances? Please let me know if you figure out how to do it. I got up, went up to my bedroom, and dressed for work. Please pause for 2 seconds. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support is a great inspiration and encouragement for us. Thank you very much. Tammy was showering and getting ready for work when I grabbed the recorder from the bedside table, took it down to the basement, and reconnected it to the phone line. Tammy was probably too astonished to notice the recorder was stolen, and she'd called Jennifer once I got out of the home and on my way to work. I had a lot on my plate at work and didn't have time to reflect about Tammy's condition. I left work early so that I could go home before Tammy and check the recorder. Tammy did not call or answer the phone, so I turned on the old recorder and transferred what was on it to the new one. Then, via the old one on the floor behind the bedside table, plugged the new one into the phone line. I got in my pickup and headed to Bud's bar. When my drink arrived, I called home and left a message on the answering machine indicating I'd be late. I met a couple men I knew in the pub, so we got together and played pool and drank beer until 11, when I decided to call it a night and go home. Tammy was in the guest bedroom, and I didn't care if she was sleeping or awake. I'm not even attempting to find out. I went downstairs to check if the phone was ringing. There were calls from her sister and mother, but it was the third that piqued my curiosity. Hello? Hi, it's me. What up? I was captured. Caught? What does this mean? Frank apparently became suspicious after your visit, so he plugged the recorder onto the phone line. He's got everything we talked about. He knows we intended for me to try your husband's boyfriend. He was not pleased. He kicked me out of our bedroom and is talking about divorce. So we're being taped right now, no. He handed me a tape recorder and made me listen to it. It is on the bedside table in the guest room where he put me to bed last night. So what are you planning to do? I'm not sure whether there is anything I can do. He's been adamant that he no longer trusts me. He refused to trust anything I told him. He gave me 1 week to find a place to stay. He said if I didn't get out by the following trash day, he'd throw me on the curb beside the dumpsters. You can stay with us. Dennis would love it. That's the last thing I will do. In fact, after speaking with you, I've determined that you're completely correct and that I shouldn't risk what I have out of curiosity. I was going to phone you this morning to cancel, but it was too late because Frank had already heard the recording. Perhaps it would have been acceptable if he had waited until today to listen, as he would have heard me phoning and canceled the appointment. I can't imagine him carrying out his threat by kicking you out. Anyone can see that this man adores you, and I know you love him. He simply needs time to cool down. You did not hear him, Jennifer. His tone was the coldest I had ever heard. I believe he was being sincere. Even though I understand what he's saying, it doesn't help. He does go on business trips, which can cause him to disappear for days at a time, and given what he heard on the recorder, why should he assume I'll behave nicely while he's gone? Worse, he heard I was a slut when he was away in Texas, and now he believes I cheated on him throughout our marriage. I'm surprised you hadn't. I'd wager a lot of money that you would have continued to act like a wild whore even after saying yes to Frank. It is called love. I adore him so much that I didn't even consider other people until you mentioned your husband's size, and my curiosity overtook my common sense. I cannot believe I allowed that to happen. It must be the 7-year itch. Your 8th anniversary is approaching. It doesn't appear like I'll make it, and it's terrible. I've already purchased a card and a present. I wish I could tell you what to do, but I don't know. I honestly don't agree with you on this one. I've only had intense feelings for one man in my life, and aside from a few dates, we have nothing in common. He could have saved me from being what I am today. Deep down, I know that if I could have him, no other man will ever touch me. You did not stop after marrying Dennis. That's because Dennis and I do not love each other. It may be powerful, but it is far from love. Then why did you two marry? Tammy, this is a marriage of convenience. Dennis required a wife for appearances. He wanted to be viewed as a family man at work, but he needed a woman who recognized that he could never be a lone guy. Personally, I was bored of being unmarried and living in a studio apartment, but I wanted a man who was willing to put up with me and play on the side. So Dennis and I were ideal for each other. So far, it's working, but I can tell you that there is a man who could convince me to leave Dennis and become a single lady, and I'd do it without thinking twice. But this would only happen in my dreams. It does not make sense. On the one hand, you claim you cannot be a single woman. On the other hand, you claim you'd be a single lady if you had this mysterious man. It does not make sense. Of course it does, girlfriend. You expressed it yourself. It is called love. How the hell did we bring it up? We were discussing your situation. In my opinion, the only thing you can do is persuade Frank that you are not going to carry out your plan and that you love him so much that you would never do anything that would endanger his life or your marriage. But how could I accomplish that? You'd have to locate someone more smarter than me to answer that question. So she was going to phone to cancel. That is fascinating. But has anything changed? She could have changed her mind at any time. The curiosity had not gone away. She swore on a stack of Bibles that she would never cheat on me. Could I believe her? Could I ever believe her knowing what I know now? Because of her curiosity, she was willing to cheat on me. And her idiotic plot to set me up ruined everything. So could I be certain that her curiosity would not drive her to cheat if she ever believed she could get away with it? The fact that I had fallen in love with her from the first time I met her made no difference in my decision. Did I dare to grant her the assumption of innocence? I was relieved to learn that she had not cheated on me since we signed our fidelity vow, and she appeared real when she said she loved me and did not want to lose me or our marriage. But did I dare to take the risk? The problem was that I had no way of knowing if she could do whatever she wanted while I was gone. And I wouldn't know unless I was willing to go bankrupt employing private investigators to keep an eye on her while I was away. Then another thought struck me. What if Tammy discovered the recorder was missing but did not check to see if it was on the floor? What if she saw it was gone and assumed I had plugged it back into the phone line? What if the talk I was listening to was nonsense I needed to hear? That notion compelled me to make the decision. It demonstrated that I was always thinking about what would happen if I stayed with Tammy. Doubt was always present, and everything she said or did caused me to examine it from various perspectives, trying to determine what was true and what wasn't, what was a deception and what wasn't. The basic line is that trust was lost. The love may still be present, but the trust is gone. I'd question everything she said and did, and I couldn't live that way. I'd schedule an appointment with a lawyer as soon as I got to work in the morning. In the end, this story makes me wonder if we truly understand the people around us. Sometimes what we perceive as perfect is just a facade, and behind it lies a completely different world we never could have imagined. In love and marriage, trust is the most important thing, yet it's also the most fragile. Betrayal, though painful, is sometimes a reminder of the value of self-respect and truth. This story undoubtedly makes each of us reflect on our relationships and question whether we truly love and understand our partners as we think we do. If you found this story intriguing and want to explore more situations like this, don't forget to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel so you won't miss any future videos. Feel free to leave your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. We'd love to hear your views on today's story. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.